Hosking.
Well, we told you last week about the district court buildings that have been closed for earthquake strengthening, how councils around the country were tracking and counting the buildings that need work. So a reminder, of course, on Saturday in the centre of the country as to why they're doing all of that. The 5.7 on the Richter scale saw some damage reported in Wellington. Wellington City Councillor Iona Pennant is with us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
Has the damage been limited to just that one building, the new building, or not?
Look, I haven't had a chance to get detailed reports yet. Obviously, it's a weekend, I've just seen what I've seen in the media, and it doesn't seem to be very significant, which is a relief.
That's good. Because the irony, I thought, is that one of the buildings, the only building to get damaged, is a new one. So if we're wandering around the country worried about buildings and building standards and whether they're up to anything, why are we having new buildings being damaged?
Yeah, that is a little bit of a worry, so I'll be investigating why that's happened.
And so where are we at with the whole listing of buildings, for example, in Wellington?
Right, well, we're doing quite well. We've been doing an initial assessment process of the strength of our buildings since 2009, so well before the Christchurch earthquakes. We've basically done an assessment on nearly 3,000 buildings, found that a bit over 200 are earthquake prone and over 600 are potentially earthquake prone. But the good news is that over 2,000 are unlikely to be.
Okay, so 200 bad, 600 need a look at.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with about 800 buildings. So then,
eventually, but of course this is to the current standard. If the government raises the standard, that is going to make more buildings earthquake prone.
So you've got a list. Once you get a list, when do you actually start to do something? I mean, whether it be in Wellington or anywhere around the country.
Well, obviously we would encourage building owners to get started. In Wellington, they've got a certain amount of time to do that. So we're just basically on a program of encouraging them to start thinking about it, because it does cost a significant amount of money.
Because presumably at some point, once they've thought about it and a number of them decide they're not going to because it's not worth it, you then have to do something stronger.
Yes, and of course we've got powers under the Building Act to take action if people refuse to do so, but really we're more interested in encouraging people to do it, because obviously the wealth of our city is located in our property, so we need to maintain that wealth.
And so having said that, what sort of time frame are we basing this on by the time we say, here's the list, here are the buildings, and they'll need to be fixed by X date?
It depends what priority a building is given. So commercial buildings generally have about 15 years. That's a considerable amount of time. We are going to be reviewing our policy next year to see whether that's the appropriate amount of time to give owners.
Is there general encouragement? I mean, are people into it or not really? Because the costs of all of this eventually are going to be passed on to the tenants of the buildings, aren't they?
Absolutely. I think we're hearing anecdotally that the market is moving. People are wanting strong buildings. So we think that owners will have to meet that demand.
And do we have to go back to the drawing board on that new building? Because it's all very well fixing up the old ones, but if the new ones are falling down as well, what does that tell us? Does it tell us we don't have strong enough building codes, or we don't understand how earthquakes work with buildings, or what?
Well, that's right, and we may need to look at the whole design philosophy, whether we need to design buildings so that they are resistant to quakes rather than just ensuring that people can get out of them alive.
And is this a city-by-city thing? Are you happy with the way this is running, or this needs to be some sort of nationally coordinated thing?
Oh, look, there needs to be a national response. We are looking for some leadership from government on the question of how strong our buildings should be and who's going to pay for the work. I don't think that owners are going to be able to shoulder all of the burden, so we're going to need to look at how we can support them.
All right. Appreciate your time very much. Iona Pennant, who's a Wellington City Councillor. She's the portfolio leader with Built Environment. She's working on the earthquakes in the capital.